count on. LEX-18 News.
I've seen some pretty crazy stuff over here. It's crazy. It's a bad neighborhood.
Heavy hearts across the Commonwealth tonight.
There really aren't any words to have a fellow colleague and somebody that you know and work with in a small community suffering these kind of injuries.
A Richmond police officer was shot in the line of duty.
It's felt by all agencies across the state, and I would imagine across the nation right now.
LEX-18's big story team coverage starts now.
LEX-18 News at 6 starts now.
A vigil is underway right now, and here's a live look at the Richmond Police Department, where Officer Ellis has served for 7 years. Good evening, I'm Kevin Christopher.
And I'm Nancy Cox. Thanks for joining us at 6. 3 people have been arrested in connection to this morning's police officer shooting. We're told police were investigating a robbery when Officer Daniel Ellis was shot and critically injured.
The shooting happened around 10:30 this morning at an apartment complex on Ballard Drive near Turpin Drive. We have several LEX-18 news crews covering this story. Breanna Gilroy is live from the scene of the shooting to begin the big story at 6.
It has been a hard and heartbreaking day for the law enforcement community. Troopers are still here on the scene investigating what led to Officer Daniel Ellis being shot this morning. 3 people have been charged in connection to this shooting. 25-year-old Gregory Ratliff is facing a charge of complicity to commit murder of a police officer. Rita Creech is charged with robbery, and the alleged shooter, Raleigh Sizemore, was just driven to the Madison County Detention Center by state police. He is charged with attempted murder of a police officer and unlawful imprisonment. According to an arrest citation, Officer Ellis arrived at Ratliff's home this morning while investigating an attempted robbery. Sizemore apparently told Ratliff not to let the officer in or he would shoot. But the citation states Ratliff let the officers in anyways and even lied, saying he was the only one home and there weren't any weapons. The paperwork goes on to read that Sizemore was hiding in the bathroom and shot Ellis when the officer tried to push the door open. Ellis was rushed to UK Hospital where he remains in critical condition. Troopers tell me this situation is heartbreaking.
You know, law enforcement here in our community, our law enforcement, we seem to be a brotherhood. And so what's happened today is obviously very tragic, and our hearts go out to Richmond Police Department and the officer that was involved.
And there was a second officer on the scene here with Ellis. We're told that officer was not injured. Again, we're told Ellis's injuries are severe. He is currently at UK Hospital with his family, and that's where we find LEX-18's Angie Beavin, who continues our big story team coverage.
Well, Officer Daniel Ellis is battling life-threatening injuries here at UK Hospital. All day here, there have been flocks of fellow law enforcement here to offer support to the Richmond Police Department and also Officer Ellis's family. And the support started early on today. A Madison County ambulance making its way to Lexington was escorted by Richmond Police first. Then, as it made its way on into Lexington, Lexington police cruisers picked it up. They wanted to make sure that paramedics and Ellis arrived as quickly and safely as possible to UK Hospital. And here's a look at the various cruisers that we told you about, all the different law enforcement agencies here at the UK Emergency Room, the Fayette Sheriff's Office, Lexington Police, UK Police, and State Police, all here to show their support. Now, troopers we talked to here at the hospital told us just how important that outpouring of support is.
Being in law enforcement is like being in a family. We all care about each other, about our well-being, and about the families of this officer and the other officers, because this affects us all.
And one of the suspects in that shooting, Raleigh Sizemore, was brought here to UK Hospital earlier in the day. He was treated for gunshot wounds as well. However, as we mentioned earlier, he has been released from the hospital and he is now in state police custody. We're covering the news live in Lexington from the LEX-18 mobile newsroom. Back to you.
Well, investigators say the shooting came just hours after a woman was mugged at a Madison County gas station.
A teacher at St. Mark's says she was robbed outside the Marathon Gulf gas station on Main Street around 7 this morning. Richard Essex picks it up from there as we continue with our big story team coverage.
Beth Gannon is not the kind of woman to give up without a fight. This morning, she was robbed at gunpoint. and she fought him off, and she kept her purse. Surveillance video taken from the gas station captured the suspect's minivan pulling alongside the gas station. You can see the rear door of the van open just a little bit at about the same time Beth Gannon is coming out to her car. Gannon and the van move out of the camera view. Just as she is opening her car door, one of the suspects jumps on top of her with a gun pointed right at her.
He had it in my face as he was saying, "Give me your purse." It was in my face, and that was all I could see. It was that gun in my face.
Gannon was able to fight him off, and she even went to work for a couple of hours this morning. The suspects and their van were found just a couple of blocks away from her. The shooting has left a lot of the neighbors in that area pretty shaken up. My colleague, Claire Crouch, has their reaction.
Neighbors sticking close to their loved ones after a shocking morning. The news of an officer shot has rattled the nerves of everyone in the area. Neighbors say police had been in the area all morning. Many I spoke with say sadly they've become accustomed to crime in their neighborhood. Just Sunday, a man was shot and killed just feet away from this crime. A fact of life that has some in the area thinking of moving somewhere else.
Yeah, a little bit unsecure, because you know that happened back there could happen up here anywhere. And Ballard's got a reputation for that kind of thing going on.
It's crazy. Like, we were in the back bedroom and we could have been shot, you know, because they were like right by my window. So, yeah, it's a pretty bad neighborhood.
Of course, we continue to track the latest breaking developments on the situation, and we'll bring them to you later today on LEX-18 News and on LEX18.com. We're covering the news in Madison County from the LEX-18 mobile newsroom. Back to you.
And again, our thoughts and prayers are with the officer and his family tonight. And as Claire mentioned, we'll continue to follow this story very closely. Join us for more on Evening Edition at 7. And again, for minute-by-minute updates on LEX18.com.
Count on LEX18 News.
I just want to thank everybody that's been involved with taking care of my son.
An outpouring of well wishes, prayers, and words of comfort for the family of injured officer Daniel Ellis. Tonight, a heartfelt message from Ellis's family. LEX-18 investigates dangerous neighborhoods in Richmond following the ambush of Officer Ellis. And it's marketed as fun or even an ice-melting tool, the controversial flamethrower. It's legal, but should it be?
LEX18 News at 6 starts now.
Good evening, I'm Nancy Cox.
And I'm Kevin Christopher. Thanks for joining us at 6. A waiting game. That's how his family described today while on the job.
Officer Daniel Ellis remains in critical condition at UK Hospital. Today, the officer's family is sharing a heartfelt message to all the people who are helping them through this emotional time. Josh Breslow has the LEX-18 big story at 6.
He's just a good guy, good father, good brother, good son.
For as long as his family can remember, Daniel Ellis wanted one thing: to be in law enforcement. An officer with the Richmond Police Department for about 7 years and about to be promoted to detective, the 33-year-old was living his dream.
We kind of worried about him a lot, but, you know, he loved it, and that's what he wanted to do. There's a brotherhood there and a sisterhood. You know, they're a family.
That's why when Officer Ellis was shot yesterday morning, his uncle David Ellis knew other officers would show support. But he and the rest of his family never imagined that police would escort the ambulance to UK Hospital or that officers would stick around to be by their side.
They've been here every minute. They're always consistently asking us, what can we do for you? Do you need anything? This morning I noticed there was some police officers in the waiting room asleep in the floor. They never left all night, and it's just, it means a lot.
Rather than focus on anger toward the gunman, though, the family, including Ellis's father, wants to focus on just how grateful they are to have the community on their side.
He's just a good guy. You ask anybody that knows him, Daniel is just a good guy. He's one of the good guys. I just want to thank everybody that's been involved with taking care of my son.
Covering the news in Madison County, Josh Breslow, LEX-18 News.
It was a sea of blue in support of Officer Ellis at a Madison County high school. His wife, Katie, is the assistant principal at Madison Central, and students there embrace the chance to show their love for the officer's family. LEX-18's Claire Crouch continues our big story team coverage.
A tough day here at Madison Central High School. A beloved figure, Assistant Principal Katie Ellis, wife of Officer Daniel Ellis, absent. The school showing its true colors, banding together in their honor. A true family atmosphere here. Students and teachers heartbroken over the pain the Ellises are enduring. Even the superintendent and principal are absent today at Katie's side. For those who did walk the halls of the school, they wore blue in the officers' honor, supporting them in any way they can.
It's a surreal feeling. It's almost like you're expecting to wake up and think, oh, that was the strangest dream ever. And that's not what's going on here. This is reality, and it's difficult.
I just hope that, comfort and peace comes to the family, and, they mean a lot to us as a school and a community. So I hope justice is served.
And the show of support doesn't stop here. Many we spoke to said they'll be attending vigils later in the evening and are trying to come up with more ways to help them in their time of need. We're covering the news in Madison County from the LEX-18 mobile newsroom. Back to you.
The Richmond police officers are regular visitors to the Ballard Drive neighborhood where Officer Ellis was shot. And in the past month, there have been shootings, stabbings, even a riot there.
LEX-18 investigative reporter Richard Essex went into the Ballard neighborhood today, and he found it's struggling with drugs, violence, and decay.
Crime victims and witnesses rarely, if ever, talk to police. And LEX-18 investigates found even those that live in the area are afraid to walk in the shadows of their own building. Metal bars cover the windows. They're not broken. Weeds grow from just about every crack in the pavement. Graffiti painted walls and a partially broken into utility box are the welcome mats to a neighborhood Richmond can no longer ignore.
This is called the dirty.
In the past month, there have been stabbings, shootings, and a mini riot.
2 weeks ago, we had like about 30 people in the individuals with clubs and bats, and we had a person stabbed. So, a lot of people are scared to come in that area.
At 11 a.m. Thursday morning, many of the residents are home. Police say drugs, specifically heroin, is readily available. LEX-18 Investigates is told you can find just about anything except a pizza delivery man.
Because of the area, we've not delivered there in about 2 years.
And for older folks that depend on a visiting nurse service, police escorts are required to bring the nurses in and out of the area.
And they used to deliver medicine over here, but I've not seen the medicine shop car here for a while. Yeah, it's a pretty bad neighborhood.
Police admit the extra patrols may not be enough.
We're doing all we can to stop the crime in that area, but it's, we have people come in from out of town and they get hooked up with locals.
And the people the locals are getting hooked up are from Detroit, and a lot of the heroin in Kentucky is also coming from the very same area, Detroit. Back to you.
Richard Essex, thank you. Our thoughts and prayers are with Officer Ellis and all his family throughout this difficult time. Count on LEX18.com for continuous updates.
LEX-18 News.
An armed robbery investigation.
That happened back there can happen up here anywhere.
An officer shot.
And our hearts go out to Richmond Police Department and the officer that was involved.
And a life lost.
Officer Daniel Ellis passed away shortly before 2 a.m. this morning.
Tonight, grief-stricken family members, friends, co-workers, and strangers honor fallen hero Officer Daniel Ellis.
LEX-18 News at 6 starts now.
It was an emotional morning across central Kentucky as drivers, pedestrians, friends, and strangers honored a hero on his last ride home. In memory of Richmond officer Daniel Ellis, as a grateful community prepares to say goodbye. Good evening, I'm Kevin Christopher.
And I'm Nancy Cox. His death is being felt across the Commonwealth. Prayers for Officer Daniel Ellis to survive have turned to prayers for his family, his wife, and young son.
Kelsey Borza is live in Richmond, where Ellis served on the police force for 7 years. Kelsey?
Well, it's been a long couple of days for people here in Richmond and for people all over the state of Kentucky. Today, probably one of the most emotional days for them, as Officer Daniel Ellis was brought home in a procession led by his brothers and sisters in law enforcement. It's the LEX-18 Big Story at 6.
A thin blue line traveled down the interstate today
bringing their fallen brother home. A procession of law enforcement officers escorted Daniel Ellis's body to Richmond today from the medical examiner's office in Frankfort.
It's pretty amazing, and I watched a video of all the cops this morning, and I mean that's really awesome.
The whole way there, supporters lined the street. Even those in the procession were amazed. Semi-trucks slowed traffic around them, and this woman got out of her car to hold her hand over her heart. As they got closer to Richmond, the procession grew, and the support did too. A flag displayed over the road, and people everywhere. Many say they didn't know Officer Ellis, but they are heartbroken for his family.
I didn't know the officer, and a lot of people didn't, but they're still, it's affected the community, and they're doing what they can.
It was a silent entrance to the funeral home today as people reflected upon his sacrifice and what it means to the community.
For the city in general, knowing that, a lot of people may not have met him or even seen him or talked to him, but they still feel the need to come out here and show their support for his family.
Again, just a very somber day here in the area. It is really taking a toll on every single person in this county, and that includes children in the Madison County schools. For more on that, we go to Claire Crouch.
Blue ribbons around trees, a flag at half-staff. Constant reminders across the campus of Madison Central of the tragic passing of Officer Ellis, husband of Vice Principal Katie Ellis.
It's a very somber mood at Madison Central and really district-wide. We've lost a hero in our community. It's not a situation that we're accustomed to, so the emotional response is definitely one it's grief, it's devastation, we're trying to figure out just really how do you move forward.
But even in their time of hurt, students and staff are still thinking of others, like the shop students who made these signs of Officer Ellis's badge number held by firefighters during the procession.
Something terrible has happened that has kind of broken us down, and the rebuilding process, the unification process, is going to be very important.
The district's crisis response team is on hand for those who need extra help dealing with this tragedy. And a moment of silence is planned for tonight's playoff game against Henry Clay. Step by step, they're navigating this heartbreak while providing support for their loved one in need.
Keep them in our thoughts and prayers, not just today and tomorrow and in the next few days, but for the long term. So it's hard.
Covering the news in Madison County, Claire Crouch, LEX-18 News.
And in an effort to honor their fallen hero, Madison County schools will be closed on Wednesday.
Heartbroken friends, family, and strangers alike gather on EKU's campus to say goodbye to a hero, while officers from other departments step in to help the grief-stricken Richmond police officer's family. Meanwhile, Jessamine County finalizes funeral plans for their own fallen hero.
Essex starts now.
Family, friends, co-workers, law enforcement from all over Kentucky and various parts of the country are filing in here at Alumni Coliseum to pay their respects to fallen Richmond police officer Daniel Ellis. He was shot last Wednesday morning during a robbery investigation, and he died Friday morning at UK Hospital. Good evening, everyone. I'm Nancy Cox.
And I'm Breanna Gilroy. Set up for tonight's visitation started last night. Alumni Coliseum is prepared to handle 7,000 people. And all day long, we've seen a steady stream of cars file in here, even maybe more so now that people are getting off work. Of course, all to pay respects and tribute to fallen Officer Ellis. Leigh Searcy has more in tonight's big story at 6.
Once again, Kentucky's law enforcement family is saying goodbye to another officer who died working to keep his community safe. The lines started forming outside Alumni Coliseum long before 2 p.m. Everyone from fellow officers to friends to even strangers, all here to show their respect and even more, let Officer Daniel Ellis's wife and little boy know they care.
It's heartbreaking, somebody who wanted to be a cop so bad.
Paul Taylor was Officer Ellis's boss for 3 years in retail, before Ellis took a pay cut to serve and protect.
I said, "You're doing such a good job." I said, "We'll give you a raise or whatever." And he said, "Already making more, 5,000 or 10,000 more than I'm going to start out as a cop." But he said, "I've always wanted to become a cop and serve the people."
By this outpouring of support, the 7-year veteran of the force, recently promoted to detective, certainly served his community well. Those who knew him will miss
his smile.
And those who didn't know him personally,
I offer my prayers and my support, and for Luke, the son.
Officer Daniel Ellis, forever remembered and honored as a true hero who always smiled and waved at the people he served. Covering the news in Madison County, Leigh, Searcy, WLEX-18 News.
And the visitation tonight goes until 8 o'clock, so we're certainly expecting to see more people over the next 2 hours. And one of the things a lot of people are commenting on is the incredible outpouring of support throughout the community, from ribbons to the blue lights to the fundraisers. They say it's been heartwarming.
It really has. You heard in Leigh's story there that it was a dream of Daniel Ellis all his life to serve the community, and this community certainly appreciates what he did. Good evening, everyone. I'm Nancy Cox, along with Breanna Gilroy. It's been a very somber day in Richmond. The funeral for Officer Daniel Ellis. His life represented so much to this community. A Richmond police officer, an Eastern Kentucky University graduate. His wife is an assistant principal at a local school. His life meant so much, and his death broke the hearts of those who didn't even know him. A very sad day here as people filed in behind us, thousands, to say their final goodbyes.
Yeah, at about 1 o'clock today, people lined the street here as the police procession left Richmond to take Officer Ellis to his final resting place in Adair County. But before that, there was a very emotional ceremony inside Alumni Coliseum. That's where Richmond Police Chief Larry Brock said the world will never be the same. And he also made a promise to Ellis's family. That's tonight's big story at 6. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. Unimaginable grief filled Alumni Coliseum as people said their final goodbyes to a father, husband, and hero.
Our lives will never be the same again.
33-year-old Daniel Ellis always wanted to serve and protect. Chief Larry Brock describes him as one of the best, an officer who went above and beyond.
We have heard many special acts of kindness performed by Daniel as he went about doing his job. How he helped stranded motorists. How he gave an elderly woman rides home from work at night because she was afraid to walk.
My Savior God, to thee. Among the prayer today was also a promise made by Chief Brock to Ellis's widow, Katie, and young son, Luke, that while Daniel is gone, they'll never be alone.
Katie, I pledge to you and Luke that you will remain a part of our family, that we will always be there for you, and that you will never walk alone.
After the service, hundreds of Officer Ellis's brothers and sisters in law enforcement escorted him to his final resting place 100 miles away in Adair County. A final goodbye to a fallen hero. And of course, it was 1 week ago today that Officer Ellis was shot while investigating a robbery. He died 48 hours later. 4 people have been charged in that crime, a crime we'll never understand.
So much senseless loss and so much grief. Well, as Officer Ellis made his way through the streets, he patrolled as recently as a week ago. Thousands lined that route.
Especially outside of his second home, which was the Richmond Police Department. And that's where we find WLEX-18's Megan Moore.
Doors were closed today at the Richmond Police Department as officers bid goodbye to one of their own. But people who didn't go to the funeral came with full hearts, filling the parking lot to reflect and pay their respects at Officer Daniel Ellis's cruiser.
Everybody. You know, it touched everybody, and that's good.
Mary Hurst brought her kids, looking at the touching display of gifts and tokens of support.
The letters from the kids. Looking at the letters from all the little kids, the pictures, and that's the big things.
It wasn't long before thousands were lining the road in front of the police department, waiting for the procession to bring Officer Ellis by the department he served one last time.
Probably not even half of these people know Mr. Ellis and Miss Ellis, but it's still nice to come together as a community and focus and show support to one another.
Each in their own way paying tribute.
Yeah, we're going to let the kids release the balloons as the officer and the procession comes by in honor of him.
Blue lights for miles passing through a sea of support. Hands over hearts, holding each other close. With tear-filled eyes, Kentuckians said farewell to their fallen hero.
It's just almost overwhelming to see how people have reacted.
Covering the news in Madison County, Megan Moore, LEX-18 News.
Officer Ellis leaves behind a 3-year-old son, Luke, and his wife, Katie, who is an assistant principal at Madison Central High School here in Richmond.
And today, her co-workers boarded a school bus and came here to be a part of the funeral service today. And then after that, they took that long line of buses down the road where the police station is. That's where LEX-18 Evan Gorman has that story.
Strung together one by one, nearly 50 Madison County school buses lined the Lexington Road in Richmond, starting near the police station and parking beyond the University Club at Arlington in honor of Officer Daniel Ellis and his family.
The school system's pretty close, so his wife being part of the school system, that affects all of us.
Almost every bus decorated with signs, ribbons, and flags, all on the driver's own time and dollar. One bus driver tells me her son had Katie in class only a few years ago.
She was such a good teacher. He said, I hate this so bad. And I said, I know, baby. I said, it's a real bad situation. I said, but all we can do is just hope for the best.
Described as a caring person, other employees say Katie has made an impact on many students, much like her husband did in the community.
She's a very caring person. She supports the children and makes sure they learn and get what they need in the school.
This afternoon, the school system continued to pay their respects as the procession passed. Although Madison County schools were not in session today, one faculty member says there's a lesson to be learned.
Realizing the importance of our first responders in our community and what they do for us and supporting us and protecting us. So hopefully, we hope that lots of them are here lining the streets today.
Covering the news in Madison County, Evan Gorman, LEX-18 News.
And from Madison County, the procession moved into Rockcastle County, where another school system paid its respects.
Yeah, along the road there, it was just lined with people showing their support for Officer Ellis, and that's where we find LEX-18's Richard Essex.
The second the hearse with Officer Daniel Ellis passed by, time stopped. A sobering moment when the hundreds gathered in Rockcastle County knew Officer Ellis was going home.
A lot of people knew him and a lot of people loved him, respected him, and he deserves to be honored in this way.
Officer Ellis was welcomed into the county for the last time with the full attention of the ROTC students. Rockcastle County High School art students painted their support for Ellis and fellow students with parents that work in law enforcement.
I'm just scared, it's a scary job, a scary occupation.
The Rockcastle County High School students were dismissed early from class to witness a procession. The procession had passed the school faster than expected.
We back to Blooming.
Their last and only opportunity to thank Officer Daniel Ellis as he passed through their lives on his way home. Covering the news in Rockcastle County, Richard Essex, LEX-18 News.
In the toughest of times, what defines us and what heals our broken hearts are the things that count. Honor, family, friendship, our compassion, a community coming together and making a difference.
Thank you for your service. We appreciate you.
If Daniel was standing here beside me, I'd put my arms around him and tell him I loved him.
It's reached so many people. It's touched so many lives. That's important to us, to know that Daniel didn't die in vain.
LEX-18 would like to thank you on behalf of Officer Daniel Ellis's family for your thoughts and prayers and your support for the Richmond Police Department and law enforcement across the Bluegrass.
We are True Blue.
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 because what really counts is how we count on each other.